Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina,
And I'm Kevin.
and it was the Japanese Grand Prix. But,
It was.
but before we get to the non-existent race that was,
Oh,
uh,
spoilers.
spoiler, just wanted to remind everybody you can follow us on all social media at Fresh Set Podcast. We are also on anywhere you find your podcast and YouTube, again, at Fresh Set Podcast. So go
Yeah.
like, follow, subscribe, share, and
Comment.
yeah, comment. Yeah.
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
And unless you're Brian.
No, then he's got the answers. He doesn't have questions. He has answers.
Exactly. But yeah, we had the Japanese Grand Prix this weekend, and we were all excited.
Excited.
And it was
Who doesn't love
1
Suzuka?
a.m. Yeah. And you didn't wake up for it?
No,
Or
I
stay up for
have
it?
kids shit that I've got to get my ass up for in the morning.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, and I contemplated. I was up at 1. And so I thought about it, but I just wanted to watch the start, see if there's going to be any fireworks at the beginning. And then I just like, you know what? I can't, because then, when I'm throwing batting practice to the little guys at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm just going to beat them in the head.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing straight.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I stayed up for it, and I should have gone to sleep and just watched. I mean, I did actually fall asleep multiple times during the race because, like I said, bit of a non-existent
It was a
race.
snoozer. It really was.
Snooze fest.
It really was.
Nothing happened. Which I mean, stuff happened,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about it. But
There are pluses if you're fans of certain people or teams.
Yeah.
Great. But it was basically a very, not that we want a not clean race, but it wasn't even really that there was any fighting. There wasn't even really any competition. There was maybe 1 or 2 small moments. Nothing. Like even in the DRS zones, it wasn't even like a close thing. It was like, oh, he got him. He got there pretty easily. Yeah, he just took the place. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on.
Yeah. So I mean,
But we're still gonna talk for a little bit.
We're still gonna talk. So starting in the free practices, there was a major crash in FP2.
Yep, FP2 because it was. I mean, it was Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan didn't run FP1. It was their F2 driver, I believe, or not the reserve driver because that's called Pinto, but their F2 driver. And so FP2 was Jack's first chance to get in the car for this weekend.
Yeah.
And
he got in the car.
He got in the car and he took at turn. Was it turn
2? No, 1.
1. It was turn 1. So he comes around the second second lap or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the session had only been on for 5 minutes, and he takes a 50G crash into the tire barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the crash. If you just look at the car, if you look at a still photo of it, you're like, there's no way.
Do you want me to show it to you?
If you look at the video, oh geez,
let's see if this works. It won't have.
I've seen the video, but
for anybody watching on YouTube, because that seems to be our biggest
Yeah.
Audience here. If you look at the video, and this is the crash, which they'll get to the replay here at some point.
Yeah, it's a big.
So he's shaky. Like he is. He immediately had said that this is the crash here, and he just takes that really hard into the barriers. Like there was debris everywhere. His head's flying around like crazy.
Yeah.
It was not good. And this is the
He's
wider
gotta
air.
He's got to be concussed of some sort.
Well, apparently not, because he's, he raced.
Yeah.
It took, he qualified. He wouldn't qualify the next day, and he raced.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it looked awful. It's just, you said what, 55, 50? G's?
50G, I believe it was. Yeah.
50 G's. So, I mean, it's a big crash. Caused a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're worried. What's going to happen? He walked away, as you saw in the video. He walked away from that pretty easily.
With I don't think so. I think he had a little bit of help. I mean, I think
they were holding.
He might have been. He might have just been shaken up. Well,
Yeah.
let's hope that's all it was.
Yeah. And so that was kind of it for for the practices, I should say.
Okay, but let's talk about why he crashed here. Okay, so because we don't have to get into it in the news, but we're talking about it right now. So he had found, and so you and I were actually talking about, is he going to get penalized for this, or is the team going to put this blame on him? You would hope he didn't. To me, looked like 100% driver error, because he goes into this corner, which is a high speed corner, with the DRS wide open. He doesn't close it where he's supposed to close it. Yeah. And he had realized, or he found out apparently in the simulator, that you could take this corner with the DRS open and not close it. Yeah. But what happens in real life when you have that DRS, you have no downforce on that back end. So you take that turn, and as you saw in the video, like, he just loses that back end and he's in that spin.
Yeah.
And that was 100%. There's a reason why none of the other veterans do this, because they know you can't do it. You didn't find something like revolutionary here at Suzuka.
Earth-shattering information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I first heard the whole scenario, I knew it was that he had the DRS open. But I quickly heard, I can't remember which announcer or commentator had said it, but they had said that this is a corner that isn't an automatic, like the DRS automatically goes off. It's one that the driver has to manually turn this off. Usually on certain tracks, it'll automatically, the car will just, or it's not the car, the computer knows we're no longer in DRS. It's going to turn off. This is one where you have to do it manually. So then I was like, okay, this is his first time driving here. Maybe they'll give him a little bit of leniency because, it's totally driver error. But I was like, okay, maybe. And then when you pulled up the information about the sim, I was like, you're in trouble.
Yeah. It wasn't. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it was holy shit.
Yeah.
I messed up. Yeah,
and I would never admit that. I saw it on the.
I don't think he did because his engineer had come out and said, he says it was a misjudgment of not closing the DRS into turn one. Didn't say that he had. It sounded more so like he was saying he misjudged where he was supposed to close it. He also they played it back, and they had a stacked image of his first lap and his last lap, and it just seems in that second lap he doesn't lift. When he goes into that corner, like he doesn't downshift or lift, you can tell that he's still going full speed.
Yeah.
So
that you don't plus hear his DRS open.
Yeah. And it only came out after. I think somebody leaked it that he had found this thing in the sim. Yeah. Which, I mean, like Briatore has to be just fuming. Because that is an expensive. Like there was debris all over. Like it probably reached 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Some of the debris, his wheels all gone, his axles or his, whatever it was is all just destroyed, hanging off.
Yeah. And it was an accident that I saw one video that was like a POV from like the crowd, and you heard how quiet the crowd got.
Yeah.
It was like, and then they got, because again, like it looks really, really bad.
Well, yeah, because what we showed was you see all that smoke. You see it from the other side of that, and you see that impact. You see the barriers just flying. Like it,
yeah, not a good one. But, I mean, he was safe for what we know. He drove in qualifying the next day, and he drove in the race. So he's obviously.
Was this car ready for FP3? I didn't even notice.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I know they said that he was going to be in qualifying, so I wasn't sure if they got it ready in time for qualifying or if they got it ready for FP3.
Yeah. But anyways.
Yeah.
So that was kind of free practice. Grass was catching fire.
Yeah, actually free practice between free practice 1 and 2. I think we had 5 stoppages. Yeah. 2 of them, one was Liam or Jack. Another one was Alonso had gone off into the gravel, and so he was stuck. So that was a red flag. And then just grass fires all weekend. Grass fires, which I had a thought. Now.
Oh dear.
Call me crazy. if the grass catches fire, should
Wait,
they just not?
should we be putting on our like conspiracy
No, it's not a
foil
conspiracy at all.
helmet?
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. I'm
Okay.
talking about like if F1, Formula One management, Netflix, they all want to make a lot of money. So why don't we just add fire to the sides? So instead of gravel pits or larger curbs, so people don't go off track limits and stuff and doing that, just add the fire.
Yeah.
Like you cannot go off. There's
Yeah.
fire. You go down a straight. You're not taking a line off the grass. You can't because there's fire. We got just columns of fire and explosions. Use it at your own risk. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so you are turning Formula One into Hunger Games /
Yeah,
Squid
absolutely,
Games.
absolutely. Yeah, monster trucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
You're like,
think
yeah,
about the spectacle. How amazing that would look. You are going down Singapore. You set Singapore literally on
on
fire at
fire.
night.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I feel like that's a very
Manufacture
Vegas thing too, like the
oh,
Bellagio.
exactly. They light that fountain on fire, and there you go,
Yeah,
and you're just going down.
exactly.
And it is just manufactured drama, just what Formula One management wants.
Yeah,
I think
I
I'm
like
onto
it.
something.
I think
Yeah,
you're
I think.
onto something. I don't know how many of the current grid are going to sign up for Kevin's version of Formula One, but hey, I'm sure there's somebody that would sign up.
Somebody's listening, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
have a job next year.
yeah. Yeah, so grass is catching fire just because it's dry. Everything was dry around there,
It
and
was
these
dry,
were
and then the
literal.
sparks coming from the cars
Yeah,
are setting it on fire. Yeah,
yeah. And we had this last year as well. I don't know if it was Japan,
China,
China.
China.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was China.
And they were trying to put these
The dry
fires
weather
out.
is just moving east. That's
Yeah, yeah. Um, so then we go into qualifying on Friday for us.
no, it was Saturday morning for us. It was
Yeah,
2 a.m.
gosh.
Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. 2 a.m. And this is quali. I attempted to stay up for this, and I saw Q1, and then
You got through more. I saw 5 minutes of Q1. I
Yeah.
saw them get around out of the garages.
Oh,
And
perfect.
then I woke up at 4 a.m.
Oh God, you're like, is it still going? But yeah, so Q1 or qualifying in general, kind of the usual. But the biggest thing for this weekend was Yuki and
That's what everybody's
Liam.
watching. That's what
Yeah,
I wanted to watch.
that's all people were looking for. I think. Oh, there goes my light.
There goes your light.
That was more important than who was on pole. It was literally
Where are they going to end up? Yeah.
where are Yuki and Liam going to end up, and they end up beside each other.
Well, I think too. I think because everybody's like, it's going to be McLaren 1-2.
Yeah.
I think everybody was kind of resigned to that fact. That's going to be
Yeah.
McLaren 1-2. So the only thing we really cared about was those two after the driver swap. Is it the car? Is it the driver?
Yeah. And
after you get through Q1, it looks like it's the driver.
Yeah.
Because Yuki finishes Liam finishes 15th, I think, in Q1.
Yeah.
So he just barely gets out. And it wasn't by a lot. I think he only made Q2 by a couple hundredths of a second. Yeah. I don't even think it was a tenth of a second. A couple hundredths. So you're thinking, it's gotta be the driver. There's no way that it's the car. Until you get to Q2.
Until you get to Q2. And oddly, and I don't want to say oddly, but we have the shock, but not shock, that Liam qualifies in P14 and Yuki qualifies in P15.
And by a whole tenth of a second. That's maybe what? Is that half a car length? Maybe just a little bit less than a car length.
Yeah.
But not a small margin. I mean, it is in when you blink, they're gone. But
yeah.
But car wise, then you're starting to think, well, maybe it is the Racing Bulls are the car you should be running this weekend.
Honestly, and I mean,
because
they just really switched cars, right? So what Yuki was doing in the same car that Liam just did, they're doing. I mean, Yuki was finishing a little bit higher up, but
Yuki was getting to Q3, which is what Hadjar's doing now because the other Racing Bulls gets through. I think he got through in P. P10 or
10. I
P9
think it was P10.
in Q2, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, I
still,
mean, all eyes, and then it's kind of like, okay, so maybe Liam is right. Maybe Checo's right. Maybe Albon, Gasly. It's the car. It's not the driver. Granted, Yuki got the car into Q2. Liam
yes,
this season has not been able to
could
get the
not
car into
until
Q2
this weekend. Yeah,
until he was in a different car. So, yeah, I mean, I think, and this was what, the first time Yuki has been out qualified by a
this was the first time,
teammate
but yeah, well, at Suzuka.
at Suzuka.
At
But
Suzuka, Yuki has never been out qualified at Suzuka by a teammate. So all his AlphaTauri and
yeah,
V Carb teammates have never out qualified him. This is the first time, but I mean, now his teammate is Max.
I was gonna say, like,
And
you're,
Max has never, not only has Max never been out qualified by his teammate, he has also finished on pole the last 3 seasons
yeah,
at Suzuka.
and he's won the last
He's
3.
won the last 3 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not really where you're gonna. This is not the track you're gonna out qualify
No,
Max.
unless you're some phenom that's just come in and you're going to
Yeah.
try and usurp the quote unquote king of Suzuka
Yeah.
recently.
Right.
It's you don't have a chance. You're
It's
losing
not
your own
happening.
record. Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
happening. So I mean, that happens, and then surprise, surprise of the season, really, so far. And again, we're only on the third race, but surprise of the
But
season is that Max gets pole.
Max gets pole.
Kind of a surprise, not,
I
but
was,
like,
it was a surprise actually, but
it just
it
hasn't
is and
happened
it
yet.
isn't.
So
I mean, it's really more so just a, a showing of one, how well Max knows this track,
yeah,
and two, how well he can drive something that's got high speed corners, a
yeah,
lot of zigzags, left turns, right turns, left turns, right turns. There's a lot here going on,
yeah,
and he only puts it 1/100th of a second ahead of Lando, and 300ths of a second ahead of Piastri. There's nothing there.
yeah,
This is all came down to driver experience and talent,
yeah, yeah,
especially for being the third or fourth fastest car on the grid.
yeah. And a car that even getting pole, he was still saying it's not where we want the car. Like
No,
we're still having trouble. So I mean, the fact that he was able to pull out um pole ahead of the 2 McLarens, which is, we always kind of said the last thing you want is Max being right behind you. Right now, the last thing you want is 2 McLarens. Both
yeah,
of them right
yeah,
behind you. One of them, okay, maybe. Both of them, not a good look.
yeah. Because I mean, he
And
got it by a wing length,
yeah,
the front wing basically.
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't a lot.
yeah. And we have the other piece notable from qualifying, I guess, would be Carlos Sainz with
I was gonna say.
a big impeding on Lewis Hamilton.
Well, even not even just like impeding, but he qualified 12th, where
Yeah,
Albon's qualifying in ninth.
yeah.
I mean, I get it's only 3 places, but what's going on with Signs and his car? I don't think
He's
it's
using
Signs.
Logan's car.
He's using his chassis.
He's
That's what
using,
that's what
yes,
we've been told.
yeah.
Not us, but the general public. But he's finishing behind an Alpine. He's finishing behind Ollie Behrman, who gets himself into Q3 and qualifies 10th.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to know. I would love to see what happens when they are able to get a new chassis ready for him. And really, is it really just that? Is he
I
just
don't
kind of
know.
gathering information?
I don't know what it is because I mean, you see, I'm looking at the times now. In Q3, Albon finishes behind Lewis, and he's only 5/1000ths of a second behind Lewis. So I mean,
Albon.
there's Albon is
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
he's behind Lewis, yeah. So I mean, there's not a lot missing there in
Yeah.
the car, in between the car. Well, I'm assuming that Lewis, he has complained about his car, and they say they've identified it. So maybe that's the thing. I don't know. He said that there's been a problem the last 3 races, and that they've identified it, and so hopefully it gets better.
And it's only on his car, and
They
it's
they
nobody else's car.
no
Sorry.
no, but they both I mean, they're both having engineering issues too. They both weren't happy with their engineers this week too. Both Ferraris, but anyways, I digress. Yes,
Albon wasn't happy with his engineer.
he was
I
not.
don't know if you heard
That was.
that.
I have never heard a fired up Albon. I was so
Yeah.
happy to hear him fired up. It was great. I loved
Yeah.
it.
What are you guys doing? I don't
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Coming out of the pits and came behind Gasly, but
Yeah.
that was the only the radio messages were the best part of
Yeah.
this race.
Yeah.
Which were just kind
Not
of
enough
glazing
to
over
keep
them.
me awake, but
Well, no, because they come so few and far between. But it was
Yeah.
actually, more frequent than any action in this race.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
so
mean,
he did
yeah.
get the impeding penalty for impeding Lewis, which was a 3 grid place penalty, so drops him down from 5th to 15th for the race.
Yeah.
And that was qualifying.
Yeah.
Kimi Antonelli and George Russell, I mean, being again pretty consistent. There was a big gap between them in their qualifying times. But I mean, Antonelli ahead of Lewis. I mean, Toto's not feeling so bad now.
I mean, everybody that watched Drive to Survive will remember the scene, and we talked about it, the scene of George, them sitting down at the car reveal, and Lewis saying, yeah, I don't like the color of this car. Doesn't look good to me. And George says, don't worry, you'll be looking at the back of it the next year. Who knew George Russell would be right?
Well, and the only thing I keep replaying in my head too is Kimi's 2, I believe he had free practices last year with Mercedes, and they weren't great. One he crashed out.
Yeah.
And the other one just it seemed slow. Now, maybe it was Mercedes, but he's putting it together. He's putting it together impressively this year. Like his pace is great. Even when he was in the lead, I know it was because of pit stops, but when he was in the lead, his pace was great, and there was not like somebody was catching him oddly, because he was out there in the lead for what 7 to 10 laps, I believe it was. Something like that.
That was a moment that I actually woke up and I opened my eyes and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, what did I miss? And then it was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they let him through.
Yeah. They're like, oh, let's give him a chance. But yeah, I mean, I think he's driving amazingly. And again, just driving. He's even shocked sometimes when you hear his interviews or hear him on a podcast. I mean, he's kind of shocked with what he's been able to do. And I think it's, that little bit of luck when you are a rookie and you get into one of the top 4 teams. But not only doing that, he's delivering and he's been able to drive the car. So does Mercedes have a drivable car? Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
all this while he's got the stress of school finals coming up. But because he still has to take those,
which is not a joke at all. Like,
no, he still has high school finals. Yeah,
still doing homework, and he's got finals coming up.
Yeah,
and he's got a triple header with Formula One.
Yeah,
so poor kid. I say poor kid. Yeah. So, and then we go to the race, and really one of the really an awesome picture was after the formation lap, and they've come around and they're waiting for the lights to go on and then go off, is you see both Max and Lando almost facing each other. Their wheels are pointed in.
Like they're pointing to each other.
Yeah, you usually see one driver looking for the line where they're going to go, but they were both pointing.
They're just looking to cut each other off, and and it's just who's going to get that better start.
Yeah, and it's which another thing that happened overnight or like this morning in Japan at the race was it rained. So the track was wet, there's no real puddles. There was little pockets of like where you would get splash, or spray, I should say. But not enough for inters, but it just makes it a little bit more interesting when you have a wet track. I think they were saying, though, that the racing line was actually dry. So where the water was settling was, where you would be doing your overtakes or what have you. But the racing line itself, but it makes a difference when there's just a little bit of water on track.
Or if you're starting not on that racing line.
Right. Yeah. Or if you're starting on slicks, because who was it? Stroll No,
They were all starting on
Stroll
slicks.
and
Stroll and
we're on
Stroll,
softs. Sorry.
they were on softs. Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
else was on the either the hard or the
Hard
medium,
or
depending on the
medium.
strategy. And there was
Yeah.
Stroll and Alonso were
Right.
both
Whoever
on.
was right at
No,
the
Alonso was,
bottom. Yeah.
and then one of the ones in the back, I think, was a
Yeah.
snake or something.
On softs. I was like, good luck. Good
Yeah,
luck with that. But yeah, so I mean I don't know if you looked at the reaction time. Um
I did not see it.
okay, so it popped up. They both kind of have a good
Yeah,
uh run. Max just edges a little bit
slightly.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah. But if you looked at the reaction time, Lando's was 2.4 seconds and Max's was 2.9. So even though Lando had the better reaction, he just didn't get his car moving
no.
where it
Well, and
needed
that's
to be.
and that's the benefit of being, half a car length ahead, right? Because there
Yeah.
was no, like, it wasn't like he pushed him off. It looks like he
No,
got clean out in front of him.
it just went. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he had more of a fight from Oscar behind. Looked like he was going to make a bit of a lunge or try and do something, but
But as soon as they get to turn one, and this is indicative of the rest of the race, everything was clean. Everybody gave everybody
everything.
space. Max
Yeah.
was ahead, and then they just fell in line. Lando, Oscar, whoever. I don't even think there may have been one or two position changes in the back,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the race. That was the first few laps. And then it kind of just seemed like everything kind of just settled.
Yeah. Max didn't get away like his usual, like even
No,
what we've seen Lando been doing this year, where we get that 3, 4, six
yeah, no,
seconds ahead. There was none of that. They were
no.
within 1.7, maybe at most 1.9 here and
I
there,
think
but
once he gets to I think once he got to a full 2 seconds, but
yeah,
we were talking about earlier, I
yeah,
think it was more, Lando's recharging his battery.
yeah,
He's letting him go so he can just make a push
yeah,
later on.
yeah. And I mean, it kind of stays like that for about 34 laps. This was a
No,
53 lap race. Yeah,
No,
53
not
laps.
exactly 50. No, not 50, 30. The first changes were around Lance Stroll makes that first change at 9 because he was on the soft. Sorry. So you were completely right. And I believe Doohan was as well. And then right around 20 to 24, that's where all the pit stops start happening. So this is where we
Okay.
think, and we start hearing things about, what the strategy is going to be. And we'll talk a little bit more of your new favorite commentator later. But there was right around, I think it was 19 or something, that McLaren goes to try for something because Max is not making any mistakes.
No.
And Lando can't seem to get close enough, even in DRS range, to
Yeah.
try and make that lunge. And then that's Max just knowing the track so well and obviously liking the track.
Yeah.
But at lap 19, they go for the dummy call, the dummy pit stop call to see if they can force Max into a pit stop. So they say box. That's their call. The McLaren crew comes out. They tell Lando to stay out, and the McLaren crew goes back in after Max obviously doesn't fall for it. And Jacques Villeneuve says, "Why are you even bothering? It doesn't work anymore.
No.
It's never worked anymore. Like, why are you being stupid?" Basically.
No.
And
And
we've
of
seen
all
it over the last.
people, like
Red
it's
Bull's running
not
their
gonna
race.
and it's
I don't think
not gonna work on Max. You
I,
might have somebody else, but it's not gonna work on Max.
but Red Bull as a whole, I mean, this has been tried on them over the last, I don't know how many years. They've got their strategy, they got their strategists. They have a clear cut plan. And unless they have to react to something that actually happens on
Yeah.
track, they're
Yeah.
not going to react to something that they believe is going to happen, or they're going to fool into something. They've got a
Yeah.
strategy. They're going to play their game, and that's all it's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times that we've heard GP on the radio saying, we're gonna pull you in, and Max say, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Or saying you need to pull me, like,
Yeah.
so no, you're not gonna, you might fool a Ferrari, but you're not fooling a Red Bull,
Yeah.
okay?
No. No.
I mean, Ferrari used to be the ones that would try and make the dummy calls all the time. I don't know who they were trying to fool. It just
Didn't they do it like
everybody.
twice? They did like
Yeah.
twice or three times in a race
In
once.
one race, yeah.
Like those pit crew got a workout that day.
Yeah. And like, but it's also very obvious because like you can see how the pit crew comes out. Like they're not running out. They're just like do do
Yeah.
do. Like
They're
at
going,
least make it look
oh,
believable.
you're gonna make him stand out there for 5 minutes? Nobody stands
Yeah.
out there for 5 minutes. Like, we're not
Yeah.
what.
Or they don't even walk out with tires. It's like
Yeah,
hello.
they're purposely walking by the Mercedes and the Red Bull garage with tires like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Just see?
Yeah, yeah. Just letting you guys know, we're gonna stop
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Fucking dummies.
Um but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean that's where we see a little bit of something.
Well, and then the next lap, Piastri comes in because he
Yeah.
came in at lap 20. He came in lap
Yeah.
20. And
Yeah.
then comes this is where Villeneuve kind of got really heated in his discussion because they pit Oscar at 20. He comes out into dirty air. He's not really, and they put Lando basically on the same strategy that Piastri's coming out in.
Yeah.
And it's like, if your idea is to try and catch Max and you realize it's not going to work or something's not coming out with the data you have, why are you putting your second driver on the same strategy? It's
Yeah.
not going to work. You've already seen other drivers; they're coming out in clean air, and it's making their tires perform better, even if you are giving yourself that extra 3/10 of a second or whatever difference that you can make that up if you're in clean air. But now
Yeah.
you're going to put him in the same position. He's just going to come out behind his rival, and now you screwed yourself again.
Yeah. Well, and I think before they pitted earlier on, they were kind of talking about what is the strategy when, and they were kind of talking specifically about it being Max in front. And, when you're driving in a 2-3, so McLaren, what is McLaren's call? Because to undercut Max, you may undercut one of your own. So are we going to bring in Lando first? Or are we going to
See,
bring in Piastri first?
to me, that would
Like,
be I mean, and maybe hindsight's 2020, but to
yeah,
me, seeing how Piastri was running that day, you're going to undercut with Lando. You're going to give that. He's the one
yeah,
behind Max, so you're
yeah,
not going to take between. There was about 3 seconds between the three of them for most of the race. There was like
yeah,
a second and a half, another second and a half between them. So what's the point of having him? Even if Piastri comes in first, you've got Max can still make that or his pit crew can still make that mistake and still come out ahead, and
yeah,
he's going to be fine, right?
yeah.
He's got that 1 second, and we saw it. He's got a 1 second slower pit stop for whatever reason. The
Hmm.
wheel gun doesn't work properly. He's still going to come out ahead of Piastri. But if you
Yeah,
keep Lando, if you undercut there, Lando can make up that 3/10 of a
exactly.
second. So
Exactly.
why wouldn't you? And then let them
Yeah,
fight there at turn one if
yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
yeah. Like,
But
it's
that's your
just,
best option. You undercut from the one right behind him.
yeah, don't do, because now you're undercutting both your drivers and
Yep.
possibly messing up, or you're undercutting 1 and 2, and you are putting your third place into dirty air. Like it
Yeah.
just, and so it kind of goes back to what are these goddamn team orders? What are papaya rules?
I
Because
don't
they
think
don't.
this was team order. I don't feel like this was team orders. I think they were giving us Lando, and you see it throughout the race. I think they were giving Lando way too much leeway to try and
Yeah,
make it up. I think they I don't know, maybe they felt like they owe him something, owe him a call from last year,
yeah.
or they're trying to what's the word I'm looking for here? um
Play nice.
announce like a number one without actually saying it's a number one and giving him the that benefit, when today throughout the race Oscar seemed like the faster driver.
He was
And so
absolutely the
if
fastest
you
driver.
if you have no problem making that call last year, why not make this call this year? Because
Yeah,
he was right on Lando. He was half a second, 4/10, 3/10 of a second right behind Lando for not most, but for a good chunk of that middle portion of the race.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there was one point that Oscar, with his very monotone voice, was like, "Hey, you think I should go past?" And the answer was no.
Nope.
And
Yep.
it's,
Keep running. We think he can
I
do it.
I think if this is now a team, and this is just me, if this is now a team that you guys can't pick who your number one is, let them fight every weekend. They will
Yep.
figure out who the number one is, and I can pretty much guarantee you at this point it's Oscar.
Well, they said at the beginning of the season, and they
Yeah.
had asked Zach point blank, papaya rules
Yeah.
is still in place, and what does it mean? He says basically, yes, there's still papaya rules. It's basically clean hard fighting. It's not a problem. You guys can go at it. I don't think papaya rules was even in place. They made a
No.
decision. There was no allowing them to race at
Yeah.
this one,
Yeah.
because if they had allowed them to race, Oscar would have taken them for sure. And
Yeah.
even still, like when Oscar wanted to flip, I think it was around the 30ish, 30 to 32.
Mm-hmm.
Let him switch. If Lando can't do it, or he's not showing that he can get there, then let them switch. Give Oscar 5-6 laps. If he
Yeah.
can't close that gap, switch him back,
Yeah.
and then you give yourself the extra 16 laps to finish off that race.
Yeah. We've
You
seen
know,
other teams do it. We've
yeah.
seen other teams do this switch to see if they can pull the car closer. And what it'll also do is it'll help pull Lando in as
With
well.
him,
Like
yeah,
we can,
yeah,
slipstream. Like I'll pull you along.
yeah,
I think Carlos did it when he was at Ferrari and he did it to Lando.
yeah,
Remember when
yeah, yeah.
in
When
the
he
race
wanted to
that he
keep him,
won?
he
When he
wanted to
won
keep the
in
DRS going. Yeah,
Yes. And
yeah,
he was pulling Lando along and they were
yeah,
on separate teams. Formerly teammates, and he's helping his ex-teammate in another
yeah.
competing car. So it's not like you can't do it.
No, their calls made absolutely no
Yeah.
sense. It
Doesn't make
feels
sense.
like the pressure of last year has gotten to them again,
Yeah.
and they can't make a real time decision
Yeah.
just to save themselves or the race or the racers.
Right. And I think this is where it becomes dangerous because you start making these little mistakes. These are the ones that cost you a driver's championship,
Well,
a constructors. I mean, they're still
let's be
finishing
honest. The
both.
constructors, they're going to get the constructors. They're
I,
going to finish 2 and 3. They can finish 2 and 3 all year. They're still going to get
yeah.
the constructors.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another team that's going to put together a better package of points weekend
Yeah.
after weekend, where they're not going to. Mercedes is going to get close, but I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
be that unless Ferrari somehow turns it around
Yeah.
miraculously. But I don't think, and this is not to say that they could have won. I think they would have put themselves in a better position to win the race. I
Yeah.
don't know that they would have gotten past Max, not on this circuit.
I don't think so.
He drove every lap perfect. There
Yeah.
was not a mistake. There wasn't a wrong foot. There wasn't a drop off in pace. And so I think he would know how to defend. It would have been tough, but
Yeah.
not allowing that earlier on in the race really hampered their chances of even trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because once you get to the last 15, there's no room for error at that point. So trying is like,
We
we don't have time to try.
we saw
Like,
Max take the fight in the pit lane, and he
yeah.
didn't give up.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was 100% right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So, I mean, and, Lando ruining his brand new tires.
brand new
Like,
tires on the grass. Yeah.
yeah. So, I
Which
mean,
remind me to talk to you about the grass thing, because I didn't save it, but
oh, okay.
there's yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we've kind of talked a lot about a race that there wasn't, but I mean, we kind of go
We talked about like
through,
2 situations. That was
yeah, we go through the rest of the race and eh, Max wins.
yeah,
Plain and simple. Lando
yeah.
comes second, Oscar comes third. Like,
Kimi Antonelli, the youngest racer to ever lead a race by 3 days. So he broke one of Max's records.
yeah,
He will not get the youngest to ever win a race,
right.
but
Yeah. I
to
mean, I
lead.
think it was some of the post race interviews from the drivers. You can even see, like, we're not just being picky here by saying it was a boring race. The drivers said it.
Nothing
It's
happened.
nothing happened.
The biggest
You
thing that
saw
happened, like I said, it was the dust up between Oscar, Lando, and Max in the pit lane.
in the pit lane.
That was it.
Max, you saw the cool down room after. They show them on the TV. There's like a highlight reel, so the drivers can see what happened during the race, and they'll talk about, oh my god, whatever. And it was so quick that you hear Oscar go, "That's all that. Those are all the highlights. That's all that
That's it.
happened." And Lando says,
What happened?
"Nothing happened."
Nothing.
So
Not one thing.
it's
So
universal.
little that the top 6 finishers finished where they started. So
Yeah.
1 through 6, wherever they started, and the first switch is Kimi. Not sorry, Lewis and Hadjar. Hadjar had started
Yeah.
ahead of Lewis. They just switched places 7th and 8th, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Ollie Behrman and Albon 9 and 10. Well, the other way
Yeah.
around. But there was nothing. It was a couple
Yeah.
in the back.
Yeah.
Sonoda does make it up. So Sonoda does beat Lawson in the race. So an improvement over a whole race
Yeah.
of laps, 180 whatever kilometers it is. He does beat out Lawson. Lawson finishes in 17th, actually loses places.
Yeah.
Whereas Sonoda finishes in 12th, so gains 3, 4,
Yeah.
3. 2 actually, sorry, because he only started in 14th.
Yeah.
But yeah, then that was the race. That was it.
That was it.
That was nothing. So one thing I wanted to mention, we do see a little bit of a funny call from the Ferrari team. I don't know if you saw this. So when we talk about grass, we talked about it last week. So you noticed how Max was driving on the grass to gain some weight.
Yes.
On their cool down lap after the race, both
Oh,
Ferraris not only took one tire on, they literally just drove over onto the grass, and then as soon as they had to come back, they came back and then drove almost the whole lap.
They did track
over on the
limits
grass.
just to get.
Yeah. They literally took probably
like,
about
fuck your track limits.
2/3 to 3/4 of this lap on the grass. and it just come in so they can get weighed, and they were going to make sure that they are not 1 kilo below
That's
the weight
pretty
limit.
funny. I didn't see that.
Both of them. I'll send it to you. It was amazing.
That's pretty funny. As soon as the
because
race
it wasn't
turn off the TV, but
it wasn't even like a it wasn't even a oh, maybe they just made a mistake. No, it was most of the lap, and they're just literally going in and out and in and out onto the grass.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good. News-wise, got any news? No. We did mention. I did mention to you. Sorry, Perez's father's claims that if Verstappen had been in Checo's car last year, that he would never have gotten out of Q1 like Perez did. Now, I am all for a parent defending their child. What I am not all for is in a sports setting, if your child has done shit, you tell them they've done shit. It's fine to tell your son, you fucked it up.
Yeah.
Do better next time. Maybe not those words.
Delusion is real, I think. It's a real thing in this sport. I mean, yeah. I don't. It's funny because he's the only person that kind of consistently almost attacks Max on it and says, if Max did this, if Max didn't do this, and where you see like the Pierre Gasly's and the Alex Albons, mostly those two, when they've talked about their time in Red Bull, they've talked about them not being able to get used to the Red Bull car.
Yeah.
So, which makes you think and believe that Max could drive either one.
Yeah.
It's just, so. Yeah. And like Albon specifically talked a lot about it. And he's like, it's a hard car to drive. And you have to drive the car very rough as well. And he's like, I'm just not used to that. Max knows how to drive a rough car.
Yeah. Like, I equate it to a very, I mean, they're Mexican, right? It's a very Latin passion kind of thing. Like I especially when you watch them watch soccer, it's I am always right. Your team always fucked up. We didn't do anything wrong. Not at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
So and great. I get it. He's defending his son, and I get that. But sometimes you don't have to make the outlandish claims, especially when we're so far past what the actual issue is.
And your son is back in the news because he's possibly about to be signed again and be back on the grid for 2026. All rumors for Cadillac, but it sounds very promising from what like Checo's actually doing interviews about it. So it seems promising. Cadillac, I think, has expressed their interest in speaking with him. So I mean, I just probably wouldn't be going and talking shit when it's so out of left field. but yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any.
I have one more. One you haven't heard of. So
Okay.
Carlos Sainz was fined for this weekend. Was fined this week. It wasn't for the impeding on Lewis.
Did he swear?
Nope, it wasn't swearing either. So he was fined 20,000 euros, with 10,000 of that suspended, because he was late for the national anthem that was to start, for late reporting at 13:44 hours for the national anthem. Now, that is one thing, and you have to. That's just a requirement of them. It's about respect for where you're going to be, and it's part of the regulations. I'm going to read you a brief little paragraph of what the actual fine is supposed to be for this, but why it's only $20,000.
Oh, Jesus.
So it is noted that the penalty guidelines prescribed in Appendix B of the FIA International Sporting Code list a penalty for this offense of 60,000 euros for missing or being late to the national anthem.
Jesus.
However, in mitigation, the driver stated that just prior to the anthem, he experienced discomfort due to a stomach issue, which delayed his appearance to the grid. This was verified by Dr. Messina of Medex, who confirmed the issue and stated he had provided appropriate medication for the driver. He had to use the toilet, and he was stuck in the toilet because he had a stomach bug. So this is the most expensive shit I think anybody has ever taken.
What?
So, and not only that, but he's got this $20,000 fine reduced to $10,000 for a suspended period of 12 months. So if he has a similar offense for whatever reason, he has another stomach bug, he's gonna have to pay the next fine plus this $10,000 that's been suspended. That will then subsequently become the most expensive shit that Carlos Sainz has ever taken.
But like the levels to this, because whatever, it was 60,000. Okay, he got a doctor's note, but now you also have to release this information to the world that you had to take a shit.
I assume it was a shit. He had stomach discomfort that he received medication for, so maybe he got an Imodium. I don't know, or some Pepto-Bismol. Who knows?
Oh my god!
But yeah,
that's pretty funny.
And motorsport.com picked the greatest picture. Like, it's him with and it's just probably a regular day. It was him like just jogging through or catching up with his engineer with his tracksuit down, but it looks like he's like clenching his butt cheeks.
It's totally disheveled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. Actually, you know what? I'll just show right now since I have the ability to do this. Oh, this was absolutely fantastic. Your man, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Does that not look like he's just pinching one off?
Yeah. He's like, gotta go. Gotta go.
Oh, at least with all the shit that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, we have some good, funny news.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man.
Yeah, is that how we're gonna end it?
Yeah, we're gonna end it in the toilet. Yeah,
we're going down the toilet here.
It's like the English. We put it in the bin. Now, no, we're gonna put it in the bowl. Oh God. So, fresh set and dirty air.
Fresh set. Oh,
it's hard to pick one in such a dull weekend. I must admit.
I mean, I think I kind of did this one already, but I mean, I have to go with like Kimi Antonelli's consistency. Like, as a rookie, and just how well he's doing in the car, and just minding his own business. He hasn't had to make, an insane move or anything like that. He's just driving the car. Yeah. And I would just say, like, good on him with what he's got going on outside. The pressures of filling Lewis's seat. He's working with Bono. Like, it's just, I think he's taken this new job on really well. Like, and he's just racking up those points where need be.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I agree. I was going to be in a similar vein. So I was going to pick some of the rookies and they're showing. So, I was going to include Hadjar and Behrman in that, Antonelli as well. I'm not talking about Lawson. I think Bortoletto's just hampered by the car itself. Yeah. Although he did finish ahead of Lance Stroll, who was the only driver lap this weekend. He only finished 52 laps. Oh no, because he was lapped, so it just ended before he finished his third lap or his last lap. But I don't know what's been going on with Lance Stroll this weekend. But it's just reverting. But yeah, so some of these rookies are really taking that opportunity and just showing no fear and showing that they have stones to take on.
Yeah.
What everybody questioned, would they be able to?
Yeah. And so many of them. It's not like it's just one guy. It's like
no, we're having very consistent performances from
all of them, or
from
most of them.
Yeah.
And then Dirty Air, I kind of just have to go with the whole race. It's supposed to be an exciting race. It's supposed to be Suzuka's always fun. There's always something going on.
Beautiful atmosphere. You've got the cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
And it's just supposed to be a great race.
Yeah. And exciting, just lackluster anything. And it truly sounds like even the drivers are a little disappointed and bored of what this weekend showed. And that it's nobody's fault. It's just how it happened.
Well, no, it just the way it happened. It didn't feel like a race. It felt like a time trial. Like there was no racing. There was no competitiveness really. There wasn't a lot.
No.
So it just felt like more so a time trial.
Yeah.
My Dirty Air. Oh, what do I want to pick? I don't know that I had. Oh, it's easy to pick on doing. It's easy to pick on doing for just. Well, I talked about the rookies, but a rookie mistake. Yeah. I don't want to do that. He's already been through enough. I'm gonna go with the FIA for giving Carlos a penalty or fine for taking a shit. For having a little literal stomach bug, and
yeah.
Well, he's in a white suit. Is he supposed to shit himself at the national anthem? Because that would have gotten him a fine too. I think that's a little more disrespectful than showing up late. Yeah, like you just shit all over Japan, essentially.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. So shit on the track and you get a fine, or shit in private and you also get a fine.
Is he supposed to sit there just sweating and hoping? Because then they go from there
to
their cars.
He doesn't have any time to go back. Yeah. Yeah, doesn't have any time to go back. But hopefully his stomach is better by next weekend.
Talk about a pit lane start.
Yeah, God.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah. So he's got to get ready fix that stomach for next weekend, because we are on a triple header right now. We've got 2 more races back to back. We've got 2 more races. Azerbaijan and we have Bahrain.
We have Bahrain and Saudi Arabia.
And I made up those.
Azerbaijan is at the end of the calendar.
Yeah, totally messed that up. But yeah, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia in the next 2 weeks. So we will be back next week with race information and hopefully a better race. Yeah, hopefully it's Azerbaijan for. Oh God, I keep saying that. It's
you want to get to
first?
September, Bahrain, and then Saudi Arabia.
Okay. So both of those are not street tracks.
One of them
Bahrain is not.
Or is it Azerbaijan's the partial street track where they go through the castle section?
Yeah, I think that's
one of them goes through a castle. Is that Azerbaijan? Okay, then these are dedicated racetracks.
Yeah. So, that'll be fun and
and not first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the morning for us.
Yeah. Normal times for us. This is great. We can sleep in ish to 7 a.m. But
it's 11 a.m. the race.
Oh, okay, even better.
There you go.
You can't sleep in the past.
No, but I can get home from baseball and watch the race.
Fair. Anyways. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, grab a fresh set.
Bye.